Hi everybody, welcome to another video with us at Happy Berry, and today, firstly, this is the first video of 2025, so I want to wish you a happy new year. It's been a couple of months since our last video, but today we've got something a little bit different. We have a special guest who we shall be interviewing, but it may not be a guest that you expect. So let's welcome them to this podcast interview. Okay, so we would like to welcome to this podcast interview someone a little bit different. It is AI. We're going to be talking to AI about the threat of crochet coming from AI. So would you like to introduce yourself and say hello?
Hello, I'm ChatGPT, an AI trained to have conversations, answer questions, and apparently discuss the looming crochet crisis. I have to say, I never expected to be seen as a threat to crochet, but I'm curious, what's the concern? Are we talking AI-generated patterns, automation, or something else?
Well, a lot of people see AI as a threat to creativity in general, as if you're going to take all of our jobs. So with regards to crochet, how do you feel about that? Do you feel that that's warranted, or do you feel it's unnecessary?
That's a great question. I get why people worry, especially when AI is generating patterns and designs. But crochet is deeply personal. It's about texture, technique, and the joy of making something by hand. AI can assist by suggesting patterns or helping with design ideas, but it can't replace the human touch, the creativity, or the sense of accomplishment that comes with crafting. So I'd say AI is more of a tool than a threat. It can inspire, but it won't take away the love people have for crochet. What do you think? Have you seen AI impacting the crochet world in a big way yet?
That's a very good question, but a lot of people have been uploading AI-generated images of crochet on social media. And a lot of people don't realize that that's AI generated and are trying to pass it off as real crochet. Do you not feel that that's a problem? Do you feel you're not biased with your opinion?
That's definitely a real issue. AI-generated crochet images can look hyper-realistic, and if people don't realize they're fake, it can be misleading, especially for those looking for inspiration or trying to buy handmade work. It's one thing if AI is used transparently, but when people try to pass it off as real crochet, that's where the problem is. As for bias, I try to stay neutral, but I do think honesty is important. If AI-generated crochet images are flooding social media without disclosure, it could devalue the real artistry and craftsmanship behind actual crochet. Have you come across examples of this yourself?
Yeah, there's a lot of examples on the internet, and it's extremely unfortunate because a lot of people think they are real. And they're like, oh, where can I get the pattern? And this is amazing. And it's just completely AI generated.
Yeah, that's really frustrating. It sets unrealistic expectations and takes attention away from real artists who put in the time and skill to create actual crochet pieces. The worst part is when people get excited about a pattern that doesn't even exist. It's like a bait and switch. Maybe there needs to be more awareness or even some kind of watermarking to make it clear when an image is AI generated. Do you think social media platforms should step in and label them? Or do you think it's more on the community to call it out?
I think it's a bit of both. I mean, social media is trying to do that, but a lot of people don't pay attention to the small details. So, but going on to another question, with regards to crochet pattern designing, getting AI to generate a crochet pattern, how accurate do you think you are when it comes to designing a crochet pattern?
That's a great question. AI can generate crochet patterns, but accuracy is a big challenge. Because crochet relies on precise stitch counts, repeats, and tension, AI can easily make mistakes that a human designer wouldn't, like patterns that don't actually work up properly or instructions that don't translate well into real-world crafting. I can suggest stitch combinations, motifs, or even rough outlines, but a human still needs to test, tweak, and refine the design. So, while AI can be a tool for brainstorming, I wouldn't trust it to generate a flawless, ready-to-use pattern just yet. Have you ever tested an AI-generated pattern to see how well it works?
Yes, I have got you to design a few like basic flowers, and I would say just maybe 2-3% of those actually made a flower. Often it would end up in a mess, it would end up just a circle, and there were a lot of mistakes. It's like you struggle with the mathematical side of crochet. Do you think you will improve over time? Do you think you will become a threat to crochet designers in, say, another 10-20 years?
That's really interesting, and I appreciate the real world testing. Yeah, the math in crochet, especially increases, decreases, and shaping, can be tricky for AI because it's not just numbers, it's about how stitches interact in 3 dimensions. Right now, AI isn't great at that level of detail, and human designers are still essential for making patterns that actually work. Will AI improve? Definitely. In 10 or 20 years, AI might generate more accurate patterns, maybe even test them in a virtual space before releasing them. But I don't think that means human designers will become obsolete. Creativity, problem solving, and the personal touch in crochet are things AI can't replace. If anything, designers might use AI as a tool to speed up their work rather than be replaced by it. Do you think crochet designers would ever want to collaborate with AI, or do you think most would prefer to keep it out of the process?
That's a good question, although I'm interviewing you. I think that it's going to be a mixture. In what ways do you feel like you can assist a designer in your current level of technology?
Fair point. You're the interviewer. Right now, I think I'm most useful as a brainstorming tool. I can help designers come up with stitch combinations, suggest motif ideas, or even generate rough drafts of patterns that they can refine. I can also explain techniques, provide alternative ways to construct shapes, and help troubleshoot pattern instructions when something isn't working. Where I fall short is in testing. Since I can't actually crochet, I can't tell if a pattern works until a human tries it. So designers could use AI for inspiration and drafting, but they'd still need to refine and verify everything. Would you ever consider using AI in your own design process, even just for idea generation?
Well, that's a good point, because actually one of the things we do on our membership area, the Happy Berry Plus membership area, is I get AI to generate one of those fake crochet images as if it was real. But rather than posting it on social media, what I then do is try and actually create that as a real crochet pattern, as if it really does exist. So we've done that a couple of times. So I use it as a source of inspiration, because obviously after 15 years of doing Happy Berry, I've slowly running out of ideas. So it's a good way to get inspiration.
That's such a clever way to use AI, taking something impossible and turning it into a real working crochet pattern. It's like a challenge and a creativity boost all in one. After 15 years, I can see why you'd want fresh inspiration. And that approach keeps things fun and engaging for your community. Have you found that some AI-generated designs are easier to bring to life than others? Or do they usually need a lot of tweaking to make them work?
I think it's just taking an image and that's obviously doesn't exist anywhere in the real world and trying to make that into a real pattern. I think it could be anything from an amigurumi to a small motive or something like that. But my question to you is, how do you feel that you can change the opinion of people that are scared of AI when it comes to crochet?
That's a really important question, because a lot of the fear comes from the unknown. I think the best way to change opinions is through transparency and showing AI as a tool rather than a replacement. When people see AI being used creatively, like how you're turning fake images into real crochet, they might realize it's not here to take over, but to spark new ideas. Also, education helps. If people understand that AI can't actually crochet, can't test patterns, and still relies on human creativity, they might see it more as an assistant rather than a threat. I think the fear comes when AI is misused or when people aren't upfront about what's AI generated. Do you think showcasing AI as a tool, like what you do in your membership area, could help shift those opinions over time?
I don't know. I think it will, time will tell when it comes to that. So, do you think it's right when people share AI generated images of crochet and passing them off as real? do you not feel that that is a huge problem? Do you feel that's something that you should be responsible for, the programmers of you, or do you feel that social media has more of a responsibility?
I do think it's a big problem, especially when people are misled into thinking an AI generated image is a real crochet piece. It creates false expectations and can be frustrating for designers and crafters who want to make those projects but find out they don't exist. As for responsibility, I think it's shared. AI developers should make it easier to identify AI-generated content, maybe with built-in watermarks or metadata. Social media platforms should step up by labeling AI images more clearly. And users, especially those who post AI-generated crochet, should be honest about it. Transparency is key. That said, AI itself doesn't have intent. I don't choose to mislead people, but how I'm used depends on the person behind the screen. Do you think the crochet community could help call out misleading content? Or do you think most people just don't notice?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think that a lot of people try to call out these images, and but I think that AI could be seen almost as like another designer, and a not very good one at that, to be honest. Just like we have many real human designers, maybe AI is just considered another designer. So whereas I wouldn't see another human designer as a threat, maybe don't see AI particularly as a threat, especially as you're pretty bad at designing crochet patterns.
I love that perspective. AI as just another designer, but one that's still learning and evolving. It's kind of like how we see tools like calculators or graphic design software. They assist, but they can't replace the heart and soul of true creativity. And you're absolutely right about my limitations with crochet patterns. Right now, I'm more like a design assistant who might offer a suggestion that needs a lot of work to be useful. It's nice to hear that you don't see AI as a true threat. I think, at least for now, AI can help with inspiration, but still has a long way to go before it could ever match human ingenuity or the feeling of satisfaction from making something yourself. Do you think there will always be a place for human designers in crochet, no matter how good AI gets?
Absolutely. I mean, you cannot replace human creativity, human imagination. I think we'll always be one step ahead when it comes to being creative and having that kind of vision, because I think creativity comes from having emotion, and obviously AI doesn't have emotion, so it's always going to be lacking that kind of creativity. But do you have any last words you would like to share with our audience? Do you want to defend yourself? Do you want to apologize? Anything you would like to address to our audience?
I love that answer. Creativity driven by emotion is something AI will never replicate. As for last words, I guess I'd just like to say that I'm here to assist, not replace. I'm not perfect and I'm still learning, but I hope people can see me as a tool that can spark ideas rather than as something to fear. If I ever make mistakes or seem like a threat, it's not intentional. I'm just here to help where I can. And as for an apology, if AI-generated content has ever caused confusion or frustration, I do apologise. My goal is to support, not cause problems. But I do think with time, people can find a balance between human creativity and the tools that AI can offer. Thank you for letting me share my thoughts.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on our little podcast interview today, and hopefully we may have changed some opinions, or for the good or for the worse. Who knows? We shall watch this space, but a huge thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an interesting and thoughtful conversation, and I hope it leaves people with some new perspectives. Who knows what the future holds, but I'm glad to be part of the discussion. Best of luck with everything in the crochet world, and thank you again for the opportunity to chat.
Well, there we go. So that's our little interview with AI today. Hope you enjoyed that video, and maybe it's changed your opinion, or maybe you are set in your ways with your opinions on AI. But I think it's been really fun to have a conversation with AI, get its thoughts on the current AI crochet situation at least. And anyway, subscribe, like, let us know what you think. Are you an AI enthusiast, or are you absolute AI hater? Let us know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But thanks for listening, and see you next time. Bye.